Okay, this is a recording of Movavi's video editor. It's my choice for editing short videos. It's very simple. It operates on a timeline format. As you can see, there are various timelines set up, and you can simply add new timelines of the kind you want, whether it's a video track or audio track or a title track. So as you were to move through the timeline, you can see that the over all the video I created using Photoshop. I took the background out of this logo, and that's the first title track you see, and it's going to run almost the entire video. The next thing we're going to see is a track of photos. There are a couple of photos that I incorporated that will play, and if you drop them into the highest track, they will overlay the video. Here's a good example of that.
Please wear short sleeve clothing that will allow the registered nursing teams to administer the vaccine easily.
So this is the main track that has the video that I brought in. So what I did was I had a video card here. No. Well, I created a directory called ME Labs. You can drop your stuff into here. This is where I always save my output to a directory that I can remember. I also save the content of the program. So what happens in doing this is that you're going to want to save a project, and I always save my project and name it, and it automatically puts this extension on it. And then if I need to export it, when I need to export it, I just export video. I always make sure that I'm on the highest quality, and then I save it to the same location. Okay, so an MP4 is my export of choice, and when you start exporting, it'll export for however long it takes. From there, I come up with so when you log into Google, let me do this. You have the option of having a channel. All right, so I just go to create, and then I'm going to upload the video, and I'll go choose it from that directory, and I'll upload that MP4. Now, one thing that happens when I do this is that I have to make some choices. Some of those choices are very simple. It is not made for kids, okay? And then there is no age restriction on this. So the types of videos that we make, that needs to be chosen every time. And the next step, it's going to give you a link, and it's going to tell you that it's uploading the content. And the next step is you can choose different video elements. It's above my pay grade, so I just go to this step, and it automatically chooses public. If I'm creating something that a customer just wants to see, I'll just create private or unlisted, and then I can send them the link. So really, once this all produces, I can just copy the link, and then I can go into my email, compose a new email, insert the link and send it to whoever I want. Okay. So getting back to some of the features of the video. So particularly when I shoot, so if I'm shooting two different kinds of video, one is going to be usually with my phone or with, a camera. Those I usually shoot in short bursts, meaning 5 or 10-second videos. Very easy to edit on a timeline. I just go in here, I go to my files, I'm going to add media files, and I'll go to wherever the card is, if it's a USB card or whatever. Okay, these are my videos that I've found. All right, so as you can see, I shot with the drone. It creates really big files, so they're a little harder to edit. So I can either use Movavi has a program that is a video editor, but I chose to edit these just in this. And so what happens is you import those files here, it'll drop them on the timeline, okay? And so then you go through the timeline, you let the video play, and you find the spots that you want to. So you have to make sure that you've got the video chosen, okay? And once you find the spot that you want to start and stop on a video, you just choose cut or split. So split will automatically split that video right there. So this is the audio track. So you want to make sure you've got the video track chosen when you do that. So you choose split, and then the yellow bar tells you which video you've got selected. So if you were to split that, there would be a split right there. You would probably choose this little part and delete it. Just take it off. So that is going to keep everything in time. When you import something new into the timeline, it'll drop it at the end. And so you just move it to the location that you want. Now, the next thing is, you see these little bars here? These are transitions. That's the same thing as that. That's also the same thing as this. Now, you can either go in and choose your types of transitions that you want. So, page turning, you can see examples. You choose any one. Some of them are really like crazy. I don't use them a lot. And then there are others, the fades, that are very common, very subtle, and really great for what we do. Business, the bullseye, that's weird. I'm not going to use that a lot. Some of them are very out there. The Ken Burns choices under fade are really good options, and I use those a lot. So you can either choose a transition and drag and drop it onto the front or end of a particular segment, because transitions take you from one segment to the next, or you can let the program automatically apply all the transitions just by clicking this. So it will drop new transitions. It automatically choose from this whole selection and drop new transitions. And if you've got a ton of different assets to transition between, I do that pretty regular. Okay. Now, I went in and recorded my audio while I was doing this. So the first thing I did was to write a script, and that was the script that I sent you. Just make sure I've got this right. Okay, so I will literally have this script like on my phone or something, because I don't have two monitors set up here. If you're in a two monitor setup, this is really cool, really easy. But I'll bring that up, and then I will like be on this timeline. Before I bring any videos in, the first thing I'll do is record my audio. You can do it one of two ways. You can drop in your video and then make your audio match, or you can drop in your audio and make your video match. I chose the latter this time because I knew that the script was very succinct. They wanted to stay under a minute in timeline, and I was very precise with my words. So it was easier to do audio first and drop the video on top of it, or the assets on top of it, because some of them are pictures or logos or other things. So you can hear
ME Labs is mobilized to administer a high volume of safe and efficient COVID vaccines for those current phase applicants with a scheduled appointment.
Now, if I wanted to play this, because this is like the sandbox, right? If I wanted to play this without sound, or let's say for instance that I wanted to play it without music. See, I have a so this program offers music, okay, audio. Let's see if I can find it. So you can choose between these and listen. And there was just nothing. I've used these a lot, but there was nothing in here that really made me think of this project. So I have a collection of assets that I had collected from a company called Jewel Beat that I bought years ago, like in 2017. And I can give these to you. And these are the same sorts of things. They're just 30-second, 60-second choices. On this video, I think I used Within Reach 60 seconds. Okay, so I imported that asset into the video and dropped it right there. So Within Reach 60 seconds. So if I wanted to play that with video,
ME Labs is mobilized to
with audio, I can do that. If I wanted to, let me see if this will work. Okay, because I have the audio and the music and the audio on the same timeline, it excludes both when I mute it. So I could add another audio track. Let's try that. So here's our audio track. So then we just drop this onto that. Now we probably have control to play.
ME Labs is mobilized to administer a high volume of safe and efficient
without music. Or we could do the opposite and just play with music. So separating things on your timeline, and whatever is on top is what plays first. If I were to move, or shouldn't say plays first, takes precedent, all right? So if this were at the bottom, this wouldn't show the whole time. And I can hide the visual of that logo. I can just take it off or put it on, or take it off or put it on. My point is that, so that's a good trick to know, because there may be times that you want a logo to show up and other times you don't. But you'll have to break that up in order to do that. Okay, so we'll have to cut that logo or re-drop it onto the timeline anytime we want it to show up. All right, so you can see that Let's go back up here and set up our assets correctly. Okay, so not quite sure what link track does. Haven't used it before, so there you go. It always keeps track of your time scale. So what I do, I spend a lot of time matching up when things show up. So I listen to my audio.
To improve your vaccination experience, please wear short sleeve clothing that will.
So I spend a lot of time moving assets around to match. See, just like this.
Will be reviewed in order to proceed to check-in. To improve your vaccination experience, please wear short sleeve clothing that.
See that, I mean, if that were here, this may be a better example.
Arrival and standard initial appointment questions will be reviewed in order to proceed to check-in. To improve your vaccination experience, please wear short sleeve clothing that will allow the registered nursing teams to administer the vaccine easily. If you have been driven to your appointment, please have.
See, it didn't match, right? So what we really want to do is to make sure that we're in the area of the timeline where our audio, where it matches.
The registered nursing teams to administer the vaccine easily.
So again, we need to find our spot.
Short sleeve clothing that will allow the vaccination experience, please wear short sleeve clothing that will allow the registered nursing teams to administer the vaccine easily.
So I just found this out during this build, that if you've got video playing in the bottom and you drop a picture on top of it, it will use the video as a background.
For vaccination experience, please wear short sleeve clothing that will allow the registered nursing team.
So I think that's a visual that is pretty attractive. Let's talk about logo for a second. So this is the logo, and the way that this works is that you just choose to add logo, and it'll take you, you can go to whatever directory you want. I have mine chosen here. Obviously these are JPEGs or PNG files, and I choose that, and it drops it on that timeline, and so that's the way to add a logo. So let's talk about text. So, you know, this program, one of the things about it is that a lot of the lower third text options are kind of, you know, the colors aren't great, kind of look funny. But this one, the blue one, I found myself using, you know, quite a bit, and I used it at the very end of this video. There are also great let's see. So I've used these. I mean, they're kind of cool. I've done some videos like this for Judy Hatfield, and I'll use these to do an intro that has her name, contact information, company name, so forth and so on. We've already talked about the exporting. We've already talked about, so this is a timeline feature. So really you want to drive home, and you're thinking about this, that you can add these tracks, okay, layer your activity. You can capture, you can record video from a camera or external device directly here. Not quite sure, haven't tried that. Got to make sure that your correct microphone is chosen if you're actually going to record video and audio. And you can start recording. So I'll show you, since we're not going to be saving this, but 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, Mark McGuire, 1, 2, 3. So then it'll play it for you. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, Mark McGuire, 1, 2, 3.
Emmy Labs is...
Anytime you go here, this is going to start your timeline here. And you can scrub this. This is what's called scrubbing. You can move forward. So, like for instance, my thinking about this was that I feel like that this is my money shot, right? This is the one that's the most impressive through the whole thing. So I want to use it a lot. So I got to it pretty early in the timeline, and the 10,000 goal of vaccines a day, I thought the number of chairs sort of really supported that idea. So, you can modify your volume, you can modify your speed, you can do things in reverse. I never use this stuff. That's audio, that's video. But the better you get, those kinds of tools are going to be helpful. Now let's talk about the sound. Okay, so here's one way to do it. So I do this quite a bit. So this is the volume of the music. So if you click and drag that volume bar, you can see that you can
experience for all vaccine recipients.
Really make the music subtle.
Temperatures.
Or you can really make it pronounced.
Questions will be reviewed in order to proceed to check-in.
So it's really, you and your client's idea.
To improve your vaccination experience, please wear short sleeve.
Obviously, the more subtle the music, especially when you have an audio layover or overlay, it's probably the best. So there are lots of options here. Markers. I don't know what those are. You can crop different segments. I usually split them and then delete those segments that I want. One thing that I have found is that if I were going to delete this segment, anything in an above segment also gets deleted. And so like if I wanted to delete this segment, so all of a sudden my arm shot went away. So I'm going to undo that, and it all comes back, even if I don't have that selected. So a lot of times if I want to delete something, I'll move that asset out of the way, then delete it, and then bring it back. So just know that that's a little trick that I haven't overcome. So it's a really cool program. It requires a lot of RAM on your computer. So it won't, if you find yourself being real sluggish, it's because your computer can't run the video. This is a Windows version. So it's very similar to Final Cut. It's very similar to some of the other programs that are out there. Adobe Premiere. So if we were going to go play the video.
Emmy Labs is mobilized to administer a high volume of safe and efficient COVID vaccines for those current phase applicants with a scheduled appointment. With a goal of administering 10,000 COVID vaccinations a day, Emmy Labs is committed to a safe and efficient experience for all vaccine recipients. Temperatures will be taken upon arrival, and standard initial appointment questions will be reviewed in order to proceed to check-in. To improve your vaccination experience, please wear short-sleeved clothing that will allow the registered nursing teams to administer the vaccine easily. If you have been driven to your appointment, please have the driver wait in the parking lot to reduce the number of people in the facility. ME Labs is prepared to provide recipients with wheelchair access if needed. At check-in, your appointment will be verified and qualified personnel will be available to answer additional questions or concerns. Visit melabs.com for appointment times and locations.
Okay, so one thing that I'll say about recording audio is that if I have a script that I'm going by, I will record audio in segments, almost sentences, all right? And so I'll record it and then drop that in. And the reason for that is because I'll get shorter breath, or I tend to mess up the farther I get into dialogue. So if you are recording your own audio, or if someone else is recording audio and they want you to use it, that's a good rule of thumb, is to have them talk in segments. And you can see that these are the segments of audio that I've recorded for this that we've heard in the script. So and then of course this is export, and it takes us back to what we talked about earlier, all these different types of products. You have different ideas. MP4 works on YouTube, and that's about all I care about. So you could do whatever, but that's what works for me. All right, this is a good start. Obviously, it's a good idea to save as you go along, okay, and Control S or just going to this allows you to save. If things freeze up, you may lose work, so it's a good idea to save. And sometimes, I mean, depending on how worried you are about that, you can save projects in 2 different names. So you could go back and, like, this is your backup. So you could, all you have to do is save that project. Then when you go in and save project again, or save as, you'll see that there are 2 versions of it. And just make sure you know which version you're using, because if this were to corrupt, then you've got a backup. So anyway, hope this helps. Thanks.